Okay, then we have this. It's a little bit older, and I know most of you are already aware of it, but if you're not, security firm is to be holding a zombie crisis scenario. So it says, forget the H1N1 pandemic. Could a future crisis arise from an outbreak of viruses that destroy brain cells and render people violently catatonic like zombies? Well, I'm sure they already have it or they're working on it. We've had Russia actually come out and say they have a type weapon that can turn people into zombies. So yeah, you have the bullet company, I think Hornby, making zombie bullets. You have the government, I think it's the CDC actually talking about a zombie apocalypse and all that. But they say it seriously, but they make it like into a joke because of the zombies. But they're talking about serious situations of like survival and stuff like that. Next month, his outfit will incorporate, no kidding, zombies into a disaster crisis scenario at the company's annual counterterrorism summit in San Diego, a 5-day event providing hands-on training, realistic demonstrations, lectures, and classes geared to more than 1,000 military personnel, law enforcement, medical experts, and other government workers. Yeah, it was based off the CDC's preparedness program. It says here, when they published, talking about a mutated virus that quickly spreads as the government dispatches its military to maintain order while infectious disease specialists scour for a vaccine. And actually, the Navy Times in 2011 put something out called the Zombie War Deployment Guide, examined various tactics and gear that experts consider essential to wage a successful campaign on the undead. And of course, we've been seeing, down with the cannibals and stuff like that, and people want to be vampires going on in reality. And this is actually what they call it, excited delirium. So yeah, talk about sudden and seemingly inexplicable deaths of some highly agitated subjects being held in police custody. Most of the cases required to be restrained and incapacitate the subject was not sufficient to cause death. They usually said it was associated with drugs, but they reported that they're not related to abused drugs, suggesting further an underlying central nervous system disorder. So one of the symptoms of excited delirium is victims exhibit superhuman strength and are impervious to pain. This is scary, they say. Scientists find a way to erase frightening memories. So this is good for controlling the masses as well, as far as brainwashing and mind control and stuff like that. Because you want passive, remember, passive consumers don't really question anything and stuff like that. You want zombies and stuff, and you want them to forget all the bad memories and all of the victimization that they've had to gone through, I mean, to be able to see things, I guess, clearly, right? To see this, as I call it, the one true reality here, you can lose your mind, right? Especially when you're not really around other people that have that perception. So, I mean, you gotta keep your wits about you, so... But some people, they may end up losing it, right? It says researchers at this university in Sweden have found that it's possible to interrupt the formation of memories during a crucial stage when they're being cemented in your brain by proteins. In fact, it seems that memories associated with fears can be replaced entirely if caught before this consolidation process can finish. So this has been taught, this has been covered in movies. I think Clockwork Orange isn't exactly like this, but this is the same area. By displaying a photograph of simultaneously administering a small electric shock, the researchers were able to induce formation of fear memory in test subjects. Then by showing half of the subjects the same photo without the shock repeatedly during the consolidation process, they were able to stop a sense of fear from being permanently associated with the picture. So yeah, it's pretty crazy though. I mean, think if they can do the opposite of it, where they can take away all your good memories and just implant bad ones. See, that's how I think, dude, with all this research, they're not actually looking to make it better, they're looking to make it worse. Like with the research that went on with the imprinting of logos, corporate logos on children. That's probably to make sure that it's working, that it's effective. Pennsylvania high school band commemorates Russian Revolution. Citizens are outraged from September 26th. Pennsylvania's new Oxford High School marching band stirred controversy earlier this week after a halftime show that commemorated the Russian Revolution included olive military-style uniforms and giant hammers and sickles. There was an immediate public outcry against the performance, prompting the superintendent to issue an apology for the display. So it says here the theme was St. Petersburg 1917. An angry parent notified Fox. They went on and they said that it was Glee meets the Russian Revolution. I'm not kidding you. They had giant hammers and sickles, and they were waving them around Who thought this was a good idea? There was no reason for Americans to celebrate the Russian Revolution. I'm sure the millions who died under communism would not see the joy of celebrating the revolution by a school 10 miles from Gettysburg. It says it would be tantamount to celebrating the music of the 1935 Berlin. If I was a Lithuanian, Estonian, or Ukrainian, I'd be a little hot. I'd be really hot. It is insulting to glorify something that does not need to be glorified in America. Then the new normal has gay old time mocking Christian conservatives from August 31st. It says we have yet another addition to the pro-gay anti-Christian genre so popular on TV these days. Apparently NBC is looking to cash in on the falsehood that abnormal is the new normal, with the series focused on a gay couple's quest to have a child via surrogate mother. So yeah, it says here that a gay couple committed partnership in the film turned to surrogacy because they can't have a child the traditional way. And it says, when did biology become tradition? Ironic how liberals worship the altar of science until science gets in the way of their gratification. That's just tradition. They say the new normal is the brainchild of gay rights activist and wannabe pornographer Ryan Murphy. Says and wouldn't be complete without portraying a racist and bigoted conservative character. Barkin recently made news when she tweeted that she wished Hurricane Isaac would wash every pro-life, anti-education, anti-woman, xenophobic, gay-bashing, racist SOB right into the ocean. The new normal show, or pilot, did its best to contrast happy and functional gay relationships with broken and dysfunctional traditional marriages. It says here that they were vain and shallow, obsessed with aesthetics. Said Brian decided his relationship was ready to have a child when he saw a baby in the shopping mall, saying it was the cutest thing I've ever seen. I must have it, he exclaimed to David about his monumental decision. He continued by saying, honey, when I saw that miniature person whose skin was flawless, by the way, I really got it. And it says, remember the Chihuahua accessory craze. So like they're accessories, children. A consultant from the surrogate agency told a couple that they could create the perfect embryo and then plant it in a surrogate, just like an easy bake oven, except the surrogate has no rights to the cupcake. It says Brian responded, I would like a skinny blonde child who doesn't cry. And lastly, the episode ends on an artificial happy note. Goldie has finally found a family, and Murphy has driven his point home that a family is a family, and love is love, and biology is mere tradition, and up is down. On that note, France may ban words mother and father in legal records. They said parents and nod to gay rights. They're not only poised to make gay marriage legal, it plans to expunge the words mother and father from all legal documents, reports the Telegraph. Says the words should be replaced by parents in all instances so that not to discriminate against same-sex couples. A law that will be passed by Holland will also allow gay couples to adopt. Who is to say that heterosexual couples will bring up a child better than a homosexual couple? They will guarantee the best conditions for the child's development, the Justice Minister asked the Catholic paper. So, surprisingly to me, they say 34% of the respondents in that poll said it was depressing, that story. EU Parliament wants women on the European Central Bank board. So the European Parliament wants women appointed to the Central Bank Executive Board, reports Reuters. They said, we noticed that the EU member states' nominations to some of the most important EU institutions result in appallingly monotonous lineup of nominees. Remember this article that I've covered? This is from 7/12 of this year. Gay rights is European Union entry criteria, Brussels says. The European Commission has said in a written note that respect for gay rights is a legal criteria for EU accession. Many of you have probably seen this article too. A billionaire basically wanted to pay $64 million for some dude to come and marry his gay daughter. So, there's no need to really go into the details. It's pretty much what it is. She's not bad looking either. But the first thing I thought was, okay, social engineering, right? Talking about Edward Bernays and getting people to do things they wouldn't normally do, like talking about women, getting them to smoke when it was socially taboo, and the way they connected it was with freedom. Oh, it's freedom to be doing this. And people caught on to it, and they accepted it. Pretty much like what they're doing with these shows now. So even though it's not the new normal, they've been pushing this, like I said, at least since the early 80s, they've been pushing this as the new normal. So it wasn't tradition, this is social engineering. And then when in the 2050, when young people are looking back, or when they become adults, we're like, well, wow, dude, we did this. We were a part of something. It's like, no, you weren't, dude. Again, engineer consent. You were just a part of social engineering, and you were born into it. And you were somehow engineered mentally to think that it came from the grassroots and that this is how it always was. And that's why I said, it's easy to to kind of just lose it when you see all of this at work. You can see it right in front of your eyes. You can see it in your families, in friends and stuff like that. The engineering just taking hold and ripping things apart, right? Because it happens so fast. But the elites themselves, do they want to do this? No, I think they want to have everything separate for them. So they want everybody else, the masses, to be on the other end, the receiving end of this engineering and stuff, social engineering and eugenics. But when it comes to them, oh no, they want the best of food, the best of water, the best of education, and no, that gay stuff, that's for the masses, so they don't procreate. We want you to procreate, And then the feminist Russian ban shines in EU despite orgies, blasphemy, and hooliganism. So the EU Parliament nominated a controversial punk band whose members were recently sentenced to 2 years in prison for inciting religious hatred for a human rights prize, sparking intense condemnation from Russian officials. So remember, I've covered this before about how this ban was kind of a State Department ploy by the West to basically cause dissent and instability in Russia, socially and politically. And they do a good job. And the Russians notice this. They say this initiative cannot be qualified in any other way to accept an attempt to intervene in the work of an independent branch of authority in Russia and to cast doubts on the court ruling. Also, the nature, goals, and forms of their action have nothing to do with freedom of thought. Remember what the former KGB agent said? He said what? You use social revolution for political control. In other words, exploit their passions and demoralize the society. So you can cause what? Destabilization. Then we have FEMEN activists to sue Ukrainian TV channel over a fake program. So they're suing a TV channel after they did a story on them that suggested the activists had earned $1,000 per month and that the FEMEN headquarters are in Paris and that they are funded from abroad. The program featured an investigative journalist who joined the ranks of the FEMEN and claimed that the bare breasts of the feminists cover up somebody's money and political interests, which the group denies. There's fury at the New York City bowling alley, which makes fun of rape, while the city sexual assault rates have climbed. This is the actual thing. Getting jumped in an alley has never been this much fun. A woman has been suspected of killing 5 newborns because she was afraid her husband would leave. Goes on and says she's charged with killing 5 of her newborns, saying that she was afraid her husband, who didn't want any more kids, would leave her. Said the 28-year-old and her husband have 2 living children, 8 and 10. The husband was unaware of the subsequent births. She has admitted to killing 2 of the infants who were born alive. Says one found in the recycling plant in 2006, the other in a car park in 2007. 3 more bodies were found in the woman's cellar. Guy threatens cat and wife shoots him, so that settles it. Goes on and says that this woman chose her cat over her husband in a big way. When the hubby threatened to either shoot the cat or throw it over the fence, this fence right here, the 42-year-old Houston woman allegedly shot him in the stomach with a .40 caliber semi-automatic gun. And because this is based off feminism, right? Because feminism is what they're pushing to imbalance the way we've done things for a long, long time. Not saying oppressing women. It's just there's always been this kind of natural balance between men and women. And the engineering of society is trying to squash that, basically, right? Just a normal family, a normal society, into this highly scientifically engineered society of mega cities and little smart, tiny little apartments hooked up, everything tracked and traced, and you're loving it. So 57% found this story hilarious. And people in the comments says that she should be nominated for 2012 Hero of the Year. I'm gonna move fast here. An LA chef told police he slow cooked his wife's body for days. And I love me so much as a woman marries herself. 36-year-old divorcee with 2 kids. What will the depopulation brainwashers think of next? A burglar punched a heavily pregnant woman 11 times after she found him in her bedroom robbing her. Clinton and company land cheap birth control for the third world to avoid almost 30 million unwanted pregnancies. New York City schools are handing out morning after pill to students. Teenage girls should be offered implants as birth control over the pill. And a science professor says kill sperm to save the planet. Eugenicists say babies are a parasitic burden on society. This is GGN and I'm Darko. Thank you.